How's it going, guys? Much love. Welcome to Cosmic Blueprints here with your co-host, Creative Guy, and host, Tony Z. Tony, how are you? I have you on the board, and what's going on?
What's going on? What's not going on? Yeah, it's all rock and roll, isn't it? It's all happening.
Oh, yeah. The target tonight, just so I let my thoughts be known, is I really want to get down to some real nitty-gritty, pull no punches, let's get the truth out and really start exposing these bastards, no fear. I was just chatting with Darlene in Skype there with regards to the fire that's required some days, where some of us might appear angry. We're not. What we are is we're motivated. There's a difference, I think on one too many occasions when you're confronted with the pure evil that the system is, including the dogs that march for them, call them cops or whatever the hell you want to call them, you see, here is where much of the frustration comes in, you see, because especially when you're dealing with those in the legal system that are so duped by, breadcrumbs and scraps from the table of their masters, the irony here is what we're trying to show them is how all of us can have abundance, and that even what they would deem to be major abundance is actually pitiful in comparison to the universal abundance that's available. So that in and of itself is the real irony, and I think most of the energy that we generate out is based on the frustration of knowing that. It's like telling cops and everybody else, why are you paying a mortgage? Why are you paying your banker masters? When the truth of the matter is it's all fraud, and that you shouldn't be doing it. And it's about time that, you, the most duped of all in the legal system, get your heads out of your asses and start seeing the truth for what it is, and that everyone, yourselves included, can have absolute abundance. Unless, of course, you like strapping on that robotic, automatonic thing called a uniform that turns you into something other than a human being, So just to try to outline that a little bit for Darlene and many others that probably wonder sometimes why we do get so passionate. And that really is it in a nutshell. I'm just tired of seeing these fools out harming others and thinking that they're doing it for the right reasons. You see, one of the concepts I do want to carry across to people in every show is it's not a matter of being lawful or legal, people. This is a matter of being, what are you doing? Is it right or wrong? And only in your heart can you know that. And regardless of what your boss says that you can do, doesn't mean to say you should. If the quote corporate rules unquote state that you can shove a gun in someone's face, kidnap them, and steal their home, doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing the right thing. So illegal or lawful, I could give a shit. That to me is really irrelevant. Are you doing the right thing or the wrong thing? Is this something that you would wish upon yourself? And that is the only mirror that you really need. Is it, it's about taking the time to be the other individual that you're either harming or helping. So no, there's no hate or animosity here. It's a frustration of the absolute imbecilic stupidity and ignorance of universal law and truth. The complete lack of compassion. And these entities, if they're wishing to have a soul, they might want to start waking up. Otherwise, they go into oblivion, as if they never were. These are the parts of our consciousness that we need to purge, and we'll purge them at all costs. Sometimes we have to be really hard on ourselves in order to purge this bullshit out of our own lives. Don't be treating the dark aspects outside of yourself any differently, because they are the demons within as well. So this is about purging the bullshit, purging the demons, what have you. So anyway, just my little intro rant for the night, Tony. So other than that, we're gonna have a hell of a show, huh?
Absolutely. We had a hell of a show last night, and we got another one booked for tonight. But we're waiting for Stephen Kelly to join us at the moment. I'm not sure what the stats are up there because I'm getting no feedback. Anybody any news?
No, he's not on the board here yet. So, but he is aware that he's on tonight. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think he's just juggling through bits and pieces. I've been in contact with him through Facebook, Skype, and various other things, so I know he's juggling his way in there.
No, that's no problem. not like we can't talk for 2 hours.
Yeah. I say managed it before, haven't we?
Yeah, a couple of thousand times.
Exactly. I wonder if anybody's getting the message yet.
Well, yeah, I think they are. I mean, if here's proof. Those that are tuned in right now are obviously getting the message. And I've been meaning to do this for ages. Otis, big shout out, Otis. You absolutely rock my world. Thank you so much. You're always there. And I just wanted to let you know that your comments and your energy is greatly appreciated. Everyone's is, you know. And what am I at? I think I'm at 990 Facebook friends. So I got 10 to go to hit my first 1,000. Yay! And all done without cheating. Huh? How's that?
Cool.
Yeah, there's some sites out there that you can get 5,000 friends immediately. No, I don't want 5,000 people just to show up. What I want are dedicated, beautiful individuals that contact me for all the right reasons because they're wide awake and
totally.
They're taking part of the message. You know, it's about quantity and quality, and sometimes you can't have both. But I'll tell you, the quantity and quality is rising daily. And here's the joy: every time someone new shows up, I know that's another aspect of consciousness that is awakened, that is in my reality. And again, this frequency is rising and rising, and by default, it's going to pull up even the most sleepy, ignorant individuals, judges included, even cops too. So yeah, it's just very, very interesting.
And speaking on judges, just for example, just to remind some of the listeners, maybe some people weren't tuned in the other day, but we actually had law enforcement against prohibition on. And yeah, there's some good information. I've been checking that site out. It's called LEAP, L-E-A-P. And yeah, it sounds quite interesting. There's also a UK branch if people might want to get in touch there. And that includes, obviously, the people that work for the establishments, etc. Because prohibition is part of the problem, but there's, you know, that's just one particular problem. There are plenty more to choose from. But yeah, some good stuff. So a shout out to those guys, and please pay attention to, you know, some of the information, and maybe we can start educating more people inside and outside the establishment.
Yeah, you know, especially those inside the establishment that have been involved and in there. Many of which will know exactly what I speak of when I talk of the bonds and QSIP numbers and how the system actually works. You see, you know, you can candy coat this any way you want, you know, and I'm in full agreement with this whole idea of prohibition. Prohibition in any form is ludicrous. Where an individual has the right, as long as they're not harming anyone else, has the right to do whatever it is they want to do. You see, because the truth of the matter is, my address is the meat stick I live in. It's not a physical building. It's not a street. It's not a road. This is my vessel. I live in this vessel, and I'm tired of having it privateered. I'm tired of having it hijacked. I'm tired of being shanghaied, all through a fictitious UCC system that is hell-bent on controlling others. And that is an out-of-control ego. That is part of our overall consciousness that needs to be reined back in. It needs to be reeled in, and it needs to be brought back into the compassionate state. And as you know, well, we've all said it in Santo, especially, you know, here we are in a golden age. And I've said it many times, ye are gods. Get over it and start acting like it. You know, it's a fairly straightforward process. No one's coming to save you. You actually have to get up off your own fat ass and do it for yourself. And guess what, guys? We're all out here helping. You know, so we do it together. You're not doing it alone. You know, you've got to save yourself. Good news is there is teamwork out here, and there are those that can help. But again, the work has to start at source. It has to start with you and getting yourself out of this sleepy, ignorant, pre-programmed, conditioned, slavery, master, bullshit, feudal system mindset that you're in, the bread and circuses. You know, I mean, look at one of the biggest jokes on the planet. Look how many people were sucked into the Super Bowl on Sunday. You know, there's your ultimate bread and circuses. Here's the thing: while you're watching the ball game, what do you think they were doing? You know, there was a saying in Ireland, I heard it many times as a kid growing up. while the other side's drinking, we're sitting here thinking. And I mean, there's your fundamental right there. So while everyone out is out getting intoxicated with their sports and their booze and their whatever the hell keeps them entertained in the me mentality, while you're doing that, sucking back on that poisonous Diet Coke, that is killing you, quite assuredly. It's actually embalming you. Those that are actually promoting it and selling it and making sure that you guzzle it, they will. They're the ones sitting thinking. So I think we might have Steve here. Steve, we got you?
Hello, Stephen.
Hello?
Oh, no, it's Sorry, Lindsay, I wasn't sure. How's it going?
I can't believe I've managed to do it.
Well, there you are. How are you?
How are you? How are you? I'm good, thanks. Yeah. I don't have a question. It's just a hello, I'm afraid.
Well, hey. Well, what's on your mind? We're just waiting for Steve to show up, so what's on your mind? I love when people call in. This is your show, guys. You can call in. Here's the number. Give me a second, Lindsay. Then let's have a little chat here. Area code 661-467-2401. And, of course, if you're listening online, which you are, all you have to do is refresh the page that you're on, look for the little blue Skype button, and click on that and definitely call in. So there you go, getting the word out. So what's on your mind, Lindsay?
Lots, but nothing.
You too, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just listening to you guys and enjoying it as usual.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Every night, yeah.
So you're a Year of the Dragon too, are you?
Yes, I am. Well, are you?
Oh yeah, I'm a Gemini dragon, baby.
Capricorn dragon.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we just came out of Capricorn. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. But well, obviously in the UK. Whereabouts in the UK are you?
London.
Oh, you're in London. I was going to say, you got a little bit of a London thing going on there. It's beautiful. That's for my own checking in my head, make sure I'm hearing.
Whereabouts in London?
West. Hammersmith.
Hammersmith, right, okay.
Yeah. Hi, Tony. You all right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not too bad.
Nice to chat.
Excellent. Yeah, good to chat and good to have people calling in and communicating. That's what it's about.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's good. It's good to connect.
So, what are you thinking about the show then? What's the crack?
I think you guys are great, and I love your guests, and I love the chat room, chatting with everybody. It's really, we have a good laugh, and it's a very loving environment. It's brilliant.
And I was going to say, and here's a lesson to everyone else in the chat rooms.
If I can do it.
Yeah, Lindsay can call in. You can call in, you chicken shits. It's funny, Lindsay. We were talking about this the other night, and someone had mentioned. I think it was Kelly. Tony and I were talking with Kelly the other night, and she had mentioned the word celebrity, and of course, Tony and I would be the first ones to laugh. No, well, we might come across as that, but no, we're not. And I make it abundantly clear that that's not what we do this for.
Exactly. You don't come across that way.
Good, because it ain't that way.
Doing my thing.
Sacrifice everything to do this.
That's what's good about you, that you aren't like that.
Well, that's why I want people to call in, because this is your radio show. It's not, Tony and I just kind of host the board here, and Santo as well, and other hosts. We have Tammy Pepperman coming on board next week. Next Thursday is going to be her first show. And can I remember? It's something to do with the farm, with PHARM. Anyway, we're definitely going to get that promoted. And, of course, everyone knows that we have Jordan and Santo on Fridays, Jordan Maxwell and Santo Bonacci on Fridays, and Kyler Davenport on Saturdays. So we're trying to get something a bit more stable and definitely in the vein where we're going to bring a lot of different perspectives, and we have every other night through the week, of course, to bring in wonderful guests like Steve Kelly, and we have James Wright this week and Karen Quinn Tostado, and next Tuesday we have Kevin Annette joining us. So, and again, Sunday, who's on Sunday, Tony?
Oh, you've caught me right at a position now. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I had mentioned to Jose Barrera about coming back, so I think I might have booked him back in for Sunday because he was unpacking crates and stuff. But again, guys, this is your show. It's not it's not Tony Cates and Santos and whoever's hosting. It's your show. This is your opportunity not only to listen but to voice your concerns, to voice the things that need to be heard, because we need to know you're there too. You see, so it's kind of a selfish thing on our part. We talk every night, but we see the stats and the numbers and they're there and everything else. But it means so much more when people like yourself, Lindsay, and so many others that have taken the time just to call in and say, "Hey, how's it going?"
Exactly. Yeah, you can feel the contact more.
Well, yeah,
I should imagine.
And we want to be real too, because a lot of times people will look at someone like Angry Jones or whoever that are not accessible to street level. They're they make themselves get to a certain point and make themselves inaccessible, and that's exactly the opposite of what we want to do. This is, what I performed for decades, and one of the biggest joys I had was, we'd be on the stage and everything rock and rolling, but I was wireless, so I could take a walk out into the crowd. That's what I love doing. I love hanging out with people. So and I got to tell you, it is magical, because I've lost count of how many times I'd be out and someone would be sitting in a lawn chair or whatever, and I'd just take a walk up and I have a ballad set up to go, and I would just perform it just for them, and it really brought the energy of everybody together, because that was it. My whole game has been about leveling the playing field. There are no stars because everyone is a star.
Beautiful.
Right, so that was the joy of it, because I'd be doing multi-band venues, whatever. We do our thing and come off the stage, and I just go out and sit in the crowd, because I want to enjoy the show too. And people look at you like you got two heads. I can't. The difference between me and you is, I got paid to be here and play, so I want to enjoy the show too, because it's actually a lot of energy went into being here, so I want to be part of it as well. And that for me is the magical part. So, and I'm still waiting for Steve and Tony. I don't know where he is.
I'm here. I'm waiting for a response. I've tagged him on both his communication methods. He's vanished. So I think we'll find something's gone awry there. I don't know what it is, but something has interfered with his communication, because I was talking to him before we were signing on, getting all prepared to sign in. So I don't know what's happened, but something has.
Maybe a last-minute date showed up. You know what our Steve's like.
Probably. Have an hour of beam ship.
Yeah, they get abducted. So, yeah, I've been paying very close attention to a lot of things that have been going on, and some crazy stuff. Hey, Colleen, how you doing? Just in the chat room. Hello, Jim. Hello, Alex. Lots going on. Dragdoll, as always, just kicking up the storm. Beautiful. Dad, say how's it going? Oh, yeah.
Come on, everyone else call in.
Yeah, by all means, definitely. If you feel like calling in, we're here tonight. Now, I got to tell you, once we get Steve going, I want to get him ripping into some real stuff. I want no holds barred tonight. I want as much grit, dirt as we can get out there of what's really happening.
Well, that's something. I was actually talking to Steve off air a little while ago, and there's quite a few things happened since he actually started this. What can I call it? Well, coming out into public and launching his book and getting in contact with people and various other things. He's been asked onto shows in America. He's gone and done lectures. He joined forces with Tommy Hansen of Project Camelot.
Excellent.
They've had lots of information there. He's also found some incredible flipping technology that I didn't even know existed. Well, I say that. I do normally tend to try and do some research and be up to date on things, so it is a bit unusual. But the point of the matter is there's some holographic technology that people can literally download onto their iPhone, and it shows a holographic image on the actual thing as a wallpaper. But the beauty of this holographic image is it's based on it's something to do with scalar technology, but it absorbs the microwave radiation from the phone. It's incredible.
Yeah. Just to let you know, we have a caller in area code 501. It might be Steve. I don't know. I just made the mic hot. So who have we got? Area code 501.
It's just me, Kate. Tell me.
Hey, how's it going? Oh, right on.
Hi guys. Listen, just for reference, when we're not talking, if we mute, it stops any feedback and background and that sort of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, we do make a note of that. But hey, Tammy, while we've got you, you're going to be one of the newest hosts on Critical Mass Radio, and your show is going to be starting up next Thursday, a week Thursday, and maybe you might want to just give people an idea what you want to be going over. I know I've got a good idea, but why don't you share some stuff?
Mainly what we want to cover is, I think we came up with the title last night. We want to go over leaving the farm. What's happening is that everybody is maintained as a human product based on the fact that they are stock in the United States Incorporated. It doesn't matter where they live. It doesn't matter what, quote, country they live in. The United States was obliterated by the League of Nations. The annex to the League of Nations covenant was the Articles of Confederation that Congress came up with back in 1776, 1777. And what had happened is that Congress has global governance since 1942 with the Atlantic Charter. That thing says that they're the people, they're the ones with the dominant authority over everything. Even the World Court is ran by the League of Nations. And it's always been this way. It's always been this way. And so across the globe, everybody has to realize that they are the United States of being. They are the original contract, which is the United States Constitution. It actually ended at Article 1, Section 9, Clause 3. No bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed. What that means is that there's nothing after that point in time. And prior to that point in time, it was the contract for a representative form of government. What had happened is that all of these prisoners came over to the United States of America, or whatever this landmass. They were trying to establish a new life, a new type of, quote, order. And in that, they required laws to facilitate a new being or a new way of living, because they'd lived as slaves, as prisoners, as debtors over in the UK. And at that time, they chose representation, which was Congress. That Congress was only required to be involved in the time enough to pass those laws for humanity. It had nothing to do with what we're seeing now with Uniform Commercial Code, which stems directly from the law merchant. And leaving the farm is realizing how this happened, how we got to this point in time, what we need to do about it now, and how we're going to save not the United States, not me, but the globe. We have to save each and every biology on this planet. They're cashing in on everything. I don't know. The listeners, they may not be aware of what's going on. I suggest watching the documentary Earthlings, and you'll see that we've been denatured. You'll see that we've been dehumanized. We've been polarized from each other, pit and polarized so long. We're in such a secular state that we're not protecting the one. We have all these different concepts in the mind that we could be one, but this is actually communist theory, and it's not one. It's still secularism. You still have a governing body over you, and you're not one. You're not feeling for each other. You're not looking out for each other. You're not protecting each other as me. Jesus did not say, take up your cross and follow that guy or this guy. He said, take up your cross and follow me. Me means us, me, you and I. I feel for you, you feel for me. If something's coming after you, you'll be damn sure that I'm going to take care of it if I'm the closest one available. And we're not doing that in the society, and so we need to learn how to leave this farm.
Yeah, we also need to be clear of exactly what's going on here with the knowledge that what we're all talking about here, what is actually going on. Well, we're being herded into a trap, and there's lots of different fences all around us. It's sheep and sheepdog. The establishment, or the powers that were or be or whatever, are all herding the sheeple into this pen, and just getting ready to slam the doors behind us, and that way they've got complete control over everyone in the pen. You know, they need you all microchipped and stacked and all the rest of it. But anyway, that's not fear-mongering, it's just making it bloody obvious. The fact of the matter is, as I say, our way out of this is consciousness. When we're aware that you know, if we all turn around and start standing up to the start standing up to the sheepdogs, then that's going to change everything. We're just not going to comply. And that's all we need to do. We don't need to do anything else. Just actually say, no, that's it, I'm not doing it. And, you know, all of these things are going to help us break free of this rubbish, because it is complete and utter entrapment. And, you know, we could have free energy, anti-gravity, traveling the stars, and, you know, extra long lives and all sorts of other stuff as well. But all this will come out in the wash as we go down to this, as we explore these things one at a time. It will become obviously apparent that these things are real. And so if we can have abundance, which is the opposite of what they want everybody in poverty, so we accept what they're going to throw at us, and they're going to try and make us beg for it. Oh, we need security, we need this, we need that, we need the other. The truth is we've got all of it, but they've hidden it all away to make us think that we have a lack of, and there is no lack of. It's a construct. And that's what we need to be aware of.
Absolutely, you know, and this is one of the joys of, I'm so glad you're going to be running a helm, Tammy, because I know what you're going to be bringing across the table. You bring a perfect mix of all things physical, all things ethereal. And again, that to me is the duality in perfect singularity. When you actually see the as above, so below, as below, so above at the same time, that's when you really begin to see the bigger picture. And you start understanding the control mechanisms that have been put in place. And this has been a quest of mankind, Earthlings, for a better word that I like to use, for countless eons. And we are at a point now, finally, where we have the means and the ability to take it all back, and we are, and we will. That's exactly how it's going to end up. You see, because now what we're dealing with is a collective group of people, all coming from different walks of life, different angles, if you will, of perspective, you know, all heading for the same intention now, instead of, you know, well, I'm going to take out this, and this is for me and me. But what's happening now is we have this beautiful collective unity that is not a singular conscious, or a hive mind is probably the best way to describe that. What we're dealing with here are the people that have their beautiful individual intention that is aligning with the overall intention of consciousness. Again, whatever way you're dancing to get to the ball, doesn't matter. We're all going to the ball.
Absolutely, and we're required to feel each other. You know, this lack of empathy thing is this is sick. This is psychopathy. If you're sitting in your house right now and you watch your neighbor be dragged away by the cops or by the SWAT or whatever else, this is urban pacification, number one. Number two, you should be doing something about this. There's no reason for them to be dragged away. These are privateers. We need to, you know, just start researching, start learning. Everything is written. Get out of these mindsets. And, you know, Tony said it so succinctly when he was talking about the sensing mechanisms. And what people are not able to realize is that so many of these senses are psychological in nature. All of these laws are statements of compulsion. Majority is a statement of compulsion, which is what a statute is. All it is it's dragging you from one place to another mentally through the use of psychology. And once you get out of this mindset, you become your own author. When you're the author and you're the one writing, it's just you being. You're going forward through life. Nobody's telling you where you should be, could be, ought to be, or otherwise would be in this life. You're the author. That is the book of life. It's not really written. You write it all by yourself, by your works and actions. You go forward. This is his story or your story. Write it yourself. Stop having somebody write it for you.
Yes, exactly, and that's what it boils down to. And you're so right. I can't remember how many times I have been sickened by people standing back with their iPhones or their video cameras or whatever. You know, a group of maybe 50 or 100 or more people standing around videotaping one guy getting slugged out by 4 cops. You know, people, regardless of what someone has done, regardless. Physical abuse in any way, shape, or form should be not tolerated. For me, it is disgusting where people are caught in that bread and circus mindset, and they go, "Whoa, look what I've got! I'm going to get some major hits on YouTube." Mentality, instead of saying, "Wait a minute, there's something wrong with this. Here, hold my phone," and then call the people around to gather around these guys. A perfect example of it. I don't condone violence in any way, shape, or form, but I don't condone being a sheep getting the shit beat out of you either. So for those that might remember this video where they had the one guy that was running across a soccer field with a banner, I'm not sure if he was streaking or not, whatever, and he got jumped by 4 or 5 of the security guards, and they started pounding on him with billy clubs, and then the crowd went nuts and went and beat the shit out of the security guys. That's, I don't condone the whole idea of people harming others, but I'll tell you right now, you live by the sword, you die by it. That is a personal choice that you have made. You've wished harm upon another, so obviously you're wishing harm upon yourself. And those acting in that light are only following the golden rule. And yeah, the biggest crime of all is when you stand back and let a crime happen that you can help stop. And I don't care, just because someone's wearing a fucking uniform doesn't make them God status just because they think it does. I'll tell you right now, the only thing that empowers these goons is the fact that they're walking around with a gun. Yeah, I'm doing what you're telling me, not because I believe in what you're saying, it's because I don't want to get shot. That's the reality we're dealing with. So it's about time that people, if you got the cameras rolling when something's going down, you make damn sure that crowd gathers around and you take care of some business. And it's only going to take 1 or 2 of those to start setting the things in motion that need to start happening. And I'm talking, it's about disarming these guys. It's about taking them to task for the harm that they're creating, because everybody knows that regardless of what a cop does, or they might get a little slap on the wrist, and they'll get shit up because of what they did, because they weren't careful enough in not getting it caught on camera. That's the only difference.
Absolutely, and disarming them includes actually disarming them. Now, when you're dealing with a business venture and privateering, these are not lawful entities. They are not enforcing law. They are enforcing corporate policy. You hear this we're just following policy. We're just following policy. Public policy. This is corporate policy. This is a business venture. Privateers are going out and collecting you to take you in front of a court for condemnation and sale. You go in front of the judge. They're condemning you. You're a bad girl. You're a bad boy, and selling you. Okay, so you're the negotiable instrument. This is not lawful. This is not lawful in any way, shape, or form. This is a business venture. When somebody's kidnapping you without any form of law behind their kidnapping, they're unlawfully kidnapping you. This has gone on long enough. This has gone far enough. And every other biology would have already self-defended by now.
Yep.
They would have taken out the predator. And what we've done, because of language, because of Babylonian theory, because of the psychology behind law, we've allowed the predator to maintain watch over the sheep.
Yeah, absolutely. And also this disarming thing. I mean, in Britain, for example, we should have never lost the guns in the first place. And the farmers and the people that live in the actual countryside are basically kicking off now to think, oh my God, what have we done, basically? And now the same's happening in America, where they're trying to take the arms away. I mean, let's look at nature for an example. Does a porcupine need arresting and locking up because it's got spines? Why has a porcupine got spines? Why has a cat got claws? Why has a snake got fangs? Well, they're natural defense systems, and everything is entitled to defend itself. It's just, again, it's not the gun that kills people, it's the people that, it's the person that pulls the trigger. I sound like an old washerwoman repeating this because it's bloody obvious, but some people just, I don't know, some people just don't get it, and it's really simple. Like Kate says with the butter knife.
Yeah. And listen, if you won't defend yourself, you're actually defying natural order. Life has an urge to exist. It has an urge to flow forward. And anything that impedes that, especially with these pirates, privateers, whatever the hell you want to call them, and that's all they are. They are corporate policy officers working under the color of some bullshit law because someone said so. Sorry, you got to take responsibility for your own actions. And I'll tell you, you hit me, I will hit you back. I promise. That's the way it works.
And beyond that, there's no more of this crap. And I'm not going to sue you if you end up injuring me or putting me into law. That's going to end now. I have a fee schedule. You can conduct business all you want with me, but if you harm me or my children or my neighbors, you are not going to get sued. I'm not going to allow the court to cash in on my injury, on my harm, or harm against my neighbors. I don't think that they understand. I do not think that they realize what is coming. Because if they did, they would be scared to death of the sheeple rising up. Because I am no longer going to sue you if you kill my child. If you rape my neighbor, I'm not going to sue you. You're going to find yourself lost somewhere, and I will get you. I am not fucking around any longer. I'm sorry for that.
Hey, Tammy, we're all on the same page, and really, listen, if you can't stand up for yourself, at least try to stand up for your neighbor. Do what's right. Follow your heart, for crying out loud. When you see, here's the question, and it's regardless of the harm that's going on. But here's the question: if you saw someone raping someone in an alleyway, would you just walk by? Well, if there's no difference of that than some armed goon and a couple of his or her cronies standing around kicking the shit out of somebody. It's the same thing. To me, any physical harm is raping. Any physical touching that is not welcome is raping. Period. End of story. And what you sow, so shall you reap. I would prefer to plant apple orchards versus ragweed, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely. And that's what Jesus taught. In the same section where Jesus said to forgive all debt, he said for those that harm children, be it better that you have the millstone wrapped around your neck and you be tossed into the sea. Jesus taught compassionate justice, which is removal of all harm from communities so that community is safe from all harm. You don't let it fester. You don't stick it in jail for 6 months and then let it out on catch and release program. You don't piss it off by getting a 2-year restraining order against it, preventing it from working or anything else so that it festers and it gets pissier and pissier and pissier and pissier, guaranteed to kill the next time rather than just assault or abuse. You don't do this. Courts are pimps. Judges are pimps. Prosecuting attorneys are pimps. Yep. They're cashing in on any and all forms of injury in this country across the globe. They're cashing in on our experiences, our detriments, our deaths and death derivatives. Accusative numbers traded all over here and over here. You're a negotiable instrument. They're just pimps. This is a business venture. I'm tired of this form of business. I will no longer be kidnapped. My children will no longer be raped. My neighbor's not going to be killed, not by medicine or a gun from a privateer, not from anything. I've had enough. I've had absolutely enough.
Yeah, there was a beautiful video, I guess, with the Sandy Hook hearing, with one father talking to a public hearing to Congress, and a very poignant statement. I'll be digging it up. It was on a Facebook post. I have to get it back out to everyone. But the last couple of sentences were so driven home. And you mentioned the quote of Charles Heston, "You can have my gun when you pry it from my cold dead hands." And I said, he said, my right to protect his daughter's name was Victoria. He said, my right to protect Victoria is going to be mine, and you can pry my gun from my cold dead hands before you'll take it. And the room lit up pretty good. And I'll tell you, the congressional pimps, prostitutes, whatever the hell you want to call them, they had their proverbial asses handed to them on more than an ethereal level. The people are rising. They are rising. This whole gun grab thing and all the rest of it, I am not a proponent. There's nothing I'd love more than to see all guns gone. That is without question. Unfortunately, you see, we can't take one side, take away their guns, because all it's going to do is make it easier for the privateers and the armed thugs that travel around in their cancerous emanating cars. By the way, which is these guys have no idea what they're sitting in. I think Tony, you had mentioned to me today about those scanners at the airports, that they're not only are they destroying the DNA, but they're actually reading it to put on file. Yeah,
I only found out this myself today as well. It was actually a Stephen Windmiller. Is it Stephen Windmiller?
Dave Windmiller.
Dave Windmiller, that's it. Okay. But yeah, he found out about that today, and I was listening to the interview. I thought, now that makes sense, because I know the terahertz wave systems, they're really high-resolution waves, basically, and they're ripping through your DNA every time you go through one of them scanners. And but it also turns out as well, which I actually knew about remote viewing. When I say remote viewing, remote energy reading systems to read your DNA. I was aware of those from about probably 12 months ago. But yeah, it turns out these have got the same technology built in. So as you're cleared through the passport place, if you like, you enter through the scanner and it records your DNA as well. So I wasn't aware of that until tonight, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, something else that I said, that the good news about it, and not that I'm wishing harm upon anyone, but I'll tell you right now, if you're out there being part of the problem, i.e. the scanners, etc., and you're standing by those machines all day, you are getting dosed upon dose upon dose. I'll tell you, the damage that is being done on a daily basis to your DNA. Anyone that is working for the man or the system out there, they don't give a shit about you. They don't, because as soon as your worthiness your usefulness is done with them, you know where you go? The same place that a lot of American soldiers went in Iraq and whatever, into the dumpster. And I mean that quite literally.
Yeah, I just want to elaborate on that on a couple of levels, though. Number one, when you're working near these scanners, you're absolutely correct. You're getting irradiated. But number two, it's actually irradiating your eggs and your sperm. So it's going to be affecting, your future children, etc. And, and not just that, but in the cases where soldiers are going into Iraq, they're firing plutonium bullets and uranium bullets and all this sort of crap. Well, the radioactive matter in those bullet spools, in other words, it vaporizes into tiny dust particles. And those things are floating around all over Iraq now. There's babies coming out with 3 arms, 2 legs, you know what I'm saying, all sorts of deformities. But anyway, so those guys are going off to fight for their, let's call it loosely country, which is not the case. But anyway, they're going off and doing all these things so-called for the benefit and all the rest of it, which we've already looked at. And we know that's not quite what's going on. But they're coming back to their loving family and their loving fathers and daughters and, their cousins and that, and they're just contaminating everybody in the family.
Exactly.
Well.
And we have Stephen. Stephen, are you there? Hello.
Are you talking to me?
Oh, sorry, I got the wrong. It was a different number. I reversed the area code. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Oh. Looks like Tammy jumped off there. So who am I talking to?
This is John Galt.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, doing all right. How's everybody doing?
Good. Glad you called in. We're still waiting for Steve to call in. We've both tagged him. He's showing online, so I don't know what's going on. I gave him the link, and he's. I guess we're just.
Have you put the number out? Have you put the number out for him to call in on? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll if he's listening, I guess. Well, the number is definitely on the page, but here it is. Area code 661-467-2401. So actually, his area code 714, and yours is 417. That's why I thought it was Steve.
There you go. That's what California. 714.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's L.A., Orange County area. Anyway, talking about, the constructs, the thing that it's really can be so simple when you really think about it. Like here in the States, it's like, okay, wait a minute. Let me get this right. The people came together to form a government called a state for the purpose of protecting our freedom and our liberty. And the states, they were given a limited authority to form a federal government so that we could deal with the other nation states of the world. But somehow that's been flipped around, and now we the creators, the grantors, who are supposed to be the beneficiaries, we're the ones that are getting screwed. That doesn't make sense.
Absolutely not, John. That's the thing. Everything here is backwards. Here we are growing up with this knowledge, thinking that somehow the police were the good guys and they're there to make sure that everything is safe, and our justice system was that. Anyone that was bad. The fundamentals behind it. I mean, the whole universal law mentality behind it made perfect sense, and that's how they papered it over. So everything here is backwards, and as Tammy has said so many times and so eloquently, they're nothing but a bunch of prostitutes, of pimps that are literally vampiring and parasiting the lifeblood of their fellow humanity. And that's I'm really going on a stretch here claiming them for humanity, because quite frankly, anyone that willfully, day after day after day, goes out to willfully harm and steal from their fellow humans is subhuman and far below anything in the animal kingdom, because at least in the animal kingdom they know how to operate under natural law. These guys, nah.
I would rather just call them, they're psychopaths.
Yeah, that works. That works for me. Yeah, that's.
Really, because you can't sit there and try to reason with somebody like that, because they don't understand that. Look, you work for the government. The people pay you. So what makes you think that the people who I can't tell you, Kate. I can't say, hey, you know what, Kate? You can't drive down the road without wearing a seatbelt, because I don't have the power to make you do that. Well, if I don't have the power to make you do that, then I don't have the power to give that to a representative or a senator so that they can pass a law and do that to us. It just doesn't make sense. And it is. It's totally insane. I mean, in fact, I walk around and I look at people and I'm like, I'm living in insanity. Look at these people. They don't even get what's going on.
No, but more and more every day, John, are waking up to it, and
they are.
And it's by default, because evil must destroy itself. And the more the system and evil wants to clamp down, the final net product is another awakened being saying, "What the hell's going on here? No more." And Tammy said it best. These guys have no idea what's coming. They have no idea, because if they truly knew what was coming at them, in terms of humanity finally awakening to the level that the tsunami will hit, and that wave is standing ready to pounce any second now, not day, they're going to get a rude awakening, and they're going to understand finally, once and for all, what humanity and living is all about.
Well, I remember, and I'm in total agreement with her that this isn't just a United States or a Canada deal. This is a worldwide deal. I remember all the way back in 2007 when Ron Paul here in the States just, decided to run for president, and, we were starting these meetup groups. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's online software, and people use it for hobbies or political action committees or what. It's just a way to organize people. And these things started popping up everywhere, but it wasn't just in the United States. It was worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And I would talk to people that weren't supporters of him, and I would tell them that. And they'd go, well, that's stupid. And I go, what do you mean that's stupid? And they can't vote. And I'm like, you're missing the point. The point is that they like what he's saying, and they're looking to America to lead them out of their bondage. And so this is a worldwide thing, and thank God for the internet. Thank God for it.
Absolutely. That has been the bane of the system. And again, people say, well, they're going to shut it down. No, they're not. No, they're not. They need it for their money. And sorry, that's how courts work. They do everything with electronic funds transfer. That's how they do it. So no. They.
Can you imagine how much commerce would stop if they shut the internet down?
It would shut the planet down. And they know it. And here's the thing, anytime they try to deal up fear porn, well, we're going to shut the internet down. No, you're not, asshole. We know better, because one, we have way more people out here that know how to shut things down, like your Justice Department web pages and things like that. We have people out here that know how to bypass hub stations. I mean, we got the big lesson during the Arab Spring, where they systematically, over the span of about an hour and a half, shut down the 5 major hubs. Yet information was still getting out, because what happened was people got real creative real quick and were able to get the word out. So they can't shut it.
Yeah, they did that on Twitter, didn't they?
They did it on everything, but the word still got out.
Yeah,
so there's no stopping us. There's no stopping us.
In fact, I think it actually made it worse, if I remember back, because as soon as that went down, everybody all poured out onto the street wondering what was going on.
Again, it's evil will destroy itself. Everything that evil tries to do to create more and more darkness around us, that's when people finally, sometimes it takes that to snap some people out of it. When you're caught up in that Super Bowl mentality, it's very difficult to rationalize or reason with someone that's more interested in who won the football game than the fact that children are getting murdered around the world, raped and what have you. And that's a pretty sad state of affairs when you stop and think about it. But here's the thing: the day of reckoning is here, and that day of reckoning is going to awaken people en masse. And I'm talking those inside and out, and those that are inside, that are actually fomenting this system and keeping it operating, thinking that they're just doing their job every day because they're even more asleep, are the ones that are going to get their asses handed to them first. I've said it many times. I'm looking forward to the day that a banker has to actually think about maybe going out and plant a row of seeds to feed itself. Because I'll tell you right now, there won't be too many people standing around waiting to offer them up something. Sorry, you made your bed, you're going to lie in it, and the golden rule will apply. That which you have done to your fellow man is going to come back in your mirror. Mirror, mirror on the wall. How it works.
Well, hey, and I wanted to bring this up because I've been studying it pretty heavily the last week. But I think for a lot of the people out there, and for everybody, but especially for those that are hurting, I don't know if anybody has ever studied permaculture.
Yep. But
I'm telling you what, I've been really getting into that over the last week. I've been like a sponge. And, within a year or two, you can develop a piece of land, and it doesn't have to be that big, that can totally provide for all your food needs and most of your survival needs.
Totally.
And it's really interesting, and the quality of life just is absolutely incredible. And they mix in technology. It's not, you're not going to the backwoods again. They're using modern technology and everything also, but it's just really interesting. I encourage anybody that hasn't studied it or doesn't know about it, you need to look into it.
Yeah. Also, you can incorporate, like you just said, technology into it, such as hydroponics, aeroponics, aquaponics, which was just where I was going next. Yeah. And all these different things, and the aquaponics is amazing because you can actually have, like a lake or a spring bed, and you can use the nitrates from the fish to be filtered out through and filtered back round through the pond.
There's Tony, there's a YouTube up, and I can't remember the name of it, but this is a 3-acre plot up in Wisconsin, and they're using aquaponics, and they produce 1 million pounds of produce, 10,000 pounds of fish, and 500 yards of compost every year.
Yep.
That's and it's on 3 acres. 3 acres.
Yeah, there's a guy in London that I was talking to quite a while ago. Now, you're going to have to forgive me his name. I can't remember him because I met him. It's a long story, but anyway, taking a long story short, he took a 6 foot by 6 foot square area. He kitted it out with an aquaponic system. He was producing enough food for I think it was 15 people or something. Something ridiculous. It's incredible, the amount of stuff that they can kick out. But also, you've got to look at superfoods. I don't know if anybody's seen the film Matrix, nudge, nudge, of course we have. Well, that mush or that porridge, that grey-looking fluid that they were eating, it was actually chia seeds. And chia seeds have got enough super proteins and nutrients and vitamins to sustain the human body practically without any other form of dietary supplement going in, apart from clean water and air and all the basics. But yeah, chia seeds. Look up wheatgrass. Look up spirituana. Look up chia seeds, and there's many, many more types of things that are incredible superfoods. So it's not about the bulk you eat; it's about the nutritional value within the foods, and all of that can be got through hydroponics. And the amount of this stuff, you're talking about 3 days to grow, cress and stuff like this. You're talking days.
Yeah, exactly.
It's incredible.
Yeah, they say that you can grow 10 times the amount of food, and it's better than if you just grew it in the ground normal. But in the same area, you can grow 10 times the amount of food.
Yep, absolutely. And they say there's too many people on the planet. Utter rubbish. It's
absolutely
the consciousness of the people that they're trying to quell, the consciousness. Because when we fire up our toroids and start communicating on an energetic level, that's when they run for the hills, and that's exactly what's happening. We got them running from the hills because they know we're waking up. So tough bitties.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
And I just wanted to mention that Steve Kelly actually double booked himself. He's currently on True Central Radio, and of course we do shows with True Central Radio on occasion as well, so I can understand the flip-flop there. But I also wanted to mention we have another caller.
That's good. Well, listen, hey, I appreciate it, guys, and I'll get off and listen.
Oh, we're actually enjoying the chat, John. So
exactly.
I mean, I can hang on. That's fine.
You hang on as long as you want. Hey, you know what?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. This is a listener night, so this is great. So we have Lawson Beats. How you doing? Hello. Yeah. Did you call in just to listen, or did you want to jump in the fray here with us?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I think I just called in to listen.
Oh, too bad. Now you're on the show. So what's on your mind?
Come on, Lawson.
Well, I'm not sure where to start.
Okay. Hey, well, I got a question for you. All right?
Okay.
Well, here's my question to you. What was the moment that finally snapped you out of it?
I think I saw the Zeitgeist movie, the George Carlin's movie.
That'll work. That'll do it. Absolutely. Yeah. And here's the standard fare for people like us: is we look around at so many of our friends and family, and just people walking mindlessly in the street, and then we start to go, why? Why did I have to wake up? And because here's the problem with waking up: you can't go back to sleep.
That's right.
That's it. I mean, once you snap out of it, you will never be the same, and you will never look at the world the same way, and you fundamentally understand the absolute responsibility you now carry in order to make that difference. And that's not to ram stuff down people's throats. That is to be the difference and have people asking you, what's different about you? And then, with me, it's as simple as, I'd tell you, but you probably wouldn't get it. And you'll think I'm crazy and then leave it at that. And of course, the really interested ones that really want to light up and become part of the awakening will insist. No, seriously. And then you bring him in that way. I've said it many times in the past. It's just, all we have to be is a flame of light. The moths will gather. If they come close enough, their wings will set fire, and they'll become lights unto themselves. And that's it. And the good news with that is you're not stepping on free will choice either, because you gotta be willing to make the free will choice to awaken. And no one's gonna do it for you. That's your responsibility, your call. So welcome to the team, Lon.
Well, hey, I got it. Yeah. Kate, I've got a good story for you. I was in my previous occupation. I've been on I woke up in about 1991. Not completely, but back then it was primitive. You got everything through pamphlets and compact discs, and I bet you I spent $20,000-$30,000 just trying to find out. Now everybody can learn it in 4 or 5 hours on the internet. But probably 6 years ago or so, I really started getting bold, and I was just telling people at work. I was saying, "Look, you guys gotta pay attention to what's going on here." And I finally left there in 2009, and I got a call from one of my coworkers about a year later. About a year later. And they were sitting around at their Monday morning sales meeting, and they were talking about economy and different stuff and everything, and they go, this one guy, he just pops up and he says, the bad thing about it? He says, everything that John's been telling us the last 4 or 5 years has all come true. And I was like, really?
Isn't that a great feeling, though?
I was like, awesome. So they're waking up. Excellent.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and it's these beautiful vindication moments that we all get to experience from time to time, where people come up to you and not so much physically to me, but on Facebook or emails or whatever, because I get wonderful contacts every day. It is amazing. There's that sense of, you always know and you always knew within your heart that you're doing the right thing because you're following your heart. And there is nothing more magical or more special when someone actually gets it, resonates with it, and goes, yeah, you were right, thank you. And it's not about being right, though, and I think everyone can agree with that. It's not about being right. It's that perfect hope of knowing what we have the capability of becoming and achieving as a human race. And it's just wonderful to know that someone else has finally saw that and decided to get on board that most beautiful truth boat. And we are well past the beginning of the end for the elites. There's no question there. It's not a matter of if anymore. For a while there it was, but now it's just a matter of when, and it's going to come quicker than they're expecting, and probably a lot quicker than we're expecting.
And I'd like to give an example of just what we're talking about here, because we're talking about the biggest. We were on QLTV last night with Johnny Guzman, and we were talking about the heist of the human race, because that's exactly what's happened. We have literally a beyond our imagination Star Trek civilization race out there that are basically humans and superhuman. And the fact is that we've been kept down here in the dark to be the workhorses, and the unbelievable amount of technology that the human beings, let's call them us human beings for want of to try and prevent that distinction for the moment. We have the technology. We have superluminal space travel. We've revisited planets all over the cosmos. There's stuff that we actually have, and there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people come forward and explained all of this from the disclosure program. Hundreds of people that have been in the military, in the armed forces, have come forward and say, yeah, we've got this stuff. The governments have done reports on it, the SHAPE report, the report from Iron Mountain, the Brookings Institute report, All of these reports are military reports, and they refer to this stuff. The races that are out there, and what we're going to find when we get out there, that's all been hidden from us, is going to blow our minds, which is one of the major things that we're going to have to get our brains around. Everything is completely flipping different to what we thought it was. And this is just like the kindergarten program getting you ready for disclosure. Because when disclosure hits the fan, everything's off the charts. Everything. The reality as you thought it was on Earth is completely Stone Age. And that's what we're going to have to prepare ourselves for. It's that magnitude of information. Interstellar travel, races, everything. It's going to be awesome. But we need to just calm down and deal with the problems that we've got, because those are the only things that have held us back from the freedom to travel the stars, which is where we are from. You know, you look at our genetic lineage, it's from the other races. We were genetically engineered, and I can prove it. It's not a question. It's absolutely not a question. The point of the matter is our DNA has been spliced together from different pieces of DNA. I'm not sure if it's, I think it's 12 different races last time I looked, including reptilians, so another one you can get over. But yeah, all of this is going to come out. Pandora's box, you cannot just peek, take off the lid in one corner here. The whole lot's got to come out. And it's going to be truly amazing. It's absolutely going to be truly amazing. We deserve it. You know, we've done the time down here. It's time that they let us go, and then we can truly become who we're supposed to be. And that's my bit on that. The technological level is way beyond anything that you think that we have. You know, really is.
Oh, you're not going to get our argument here. Go ahead.
I wish they'd hurry up and get that film out.
It's been out. They just called it science fiction.
Well, I know, but you know that one that they're working on, where it's got all the people. I mean, it's got to be a full length documentary. I mean, it's got to be a really professional thing.
You're on about the Stephen Greer one, aren't you?
Yeah, Stephen Greer one. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm well up to speed with Stephen Greer, Stephen Bassett, and the rest of the situation. I've met Stephen Bassett on occasion in London, several occasions. Again, there are elements they want you to know and elements they don't want you to know. So even though it's some good information, it is. I've looked at the trailers and I've looked at the information. I've looked at the disclosure program. Crikey, I've studied this subject big time. But there's still going to be an agenda. If you look at his connections with the CIA and all the rest of it, he sits down and has dinner with the director of the CIA on regular occasions. There's an agenda, guys. So just accept it with a pinch of salt and just cross-reference everything that you come into contact with. Yes, they've got to disclose. There is no way that they can hold it. As I've said publicly on radio before, on 4 separate occasions, at least I've seen UFO craft under different circumstances, and they're awesome. Absolutely incredible. But the point is, once the cat's out the bag, it can't be put back in again. And they are trying to get everybody chipped, filed, bankrupt, and on their knees. Once you're chipped, you're chipped. That's it. They just beam a signal and let you chip and you're over. End of. Okay, so they need to get control of the human race before they release this information. That way, if anybody does decide to stand up, they can just turn your chip off and you can't buy or sell. But we all know this. This is what they plan to do. They put it in the Bible. They put it in all the historical documents called religions and all the rest of it. So it's nothing new. We were warned. The fact of the matter is we just need to get to grips with it now and make sure that we bolt Pandora's box before they put the lid on, yeah?
Absolutely. Everyone's dumbfounded. We're just kind of sitting here going, woo! Anyway, Lawson, jump in here. Lindsay, jump in.
Hello.
There you are.
I'm here.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on all that?
Oh, gosh. On that, I could have talked about the kitchen gardening. I'm good at that.
Go for
I'm a
it.
bit late.
You need a kitchen garden?
Sorry?
I was just saying, go for it. We were just talking about hydroponics, mass production of food, you know.
Yeah, I
you can
grow
do
a
that
lot
in
of
a kitchen
shoots.
garden.
I grow a lot of my own shoots. I'm stuck in the middle of London. And it's a brilliant way to get, control over what you're eating. It's so easy. Everyone should do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I totally agree. It's very, very simple, and you get shoots. You keep it on a cycle, and you got fresh shoots every day.
Exactly. So tasty as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, like in the case of aquaponics, since that's a closed system, basically, I mean, once you've got it and you've got it going, I mean, you're looking at maybe an hour of work a day. That's it.
Yeah.
You can automate that as well, John. I'm
sure you can.
I've looked at timing systems. You can even change the light cycles. Instead of going from 12 hours a day, you can go 6 on, 6 off, 6 on, 6 off, and they increase speed twice. It's flipping incredible. You can grow them faster than they're actually meant to grow if you understand how the plant responds to light and all the other cycles that you factor into it. It's incredible stuff. It's amazing technology.
Oh yeah, I mean, like that place I was talking about up in Wisconsin. Now we're talking Wisconsin, okay? And they grow year round, and they heat the greenhouses with the compost.
Yep.
Wow.
Byproducts.
I mean, it's just, simple stuff.
Yeah, again, if we just went back and looked at this, there's a very interesting video. It's all to do with wood chips. And it's also all about tilling wood chips into the soil. And it will make an incredible nutrient-rich based growing bed out of the harshest of soils and clays and all sorts of things. But it's using nature in the way that God intended it to be used. Look at a forest. The trees fall down, they rot, the leaves and the mulch drop on the ground, and it gradually builds up and builds up and builds up, and you get an incredible fertile growing ground. It's just the way that nature does it, but we've forgotten all that. And that's the problem. We've mass-produced it, industrialized it, and then chemically poisoned everything. And anyway, but the point being, we need to go back to nature and look at the way that nature does it and enhance that. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Totally. I was reading something earlier about a village called Runnymede, where people, like homeless people, have moved out and are living, and they've been sort of, building stuff and living there permanently. It looks really good.
Yeah, what you were talking. Sorry, John.
What you're talking about there, Tony, actually, there's a specific method. It starts with the U, but I can't remember what the exact name is. But it's a method in permaculture where you just take fallen logs and twigs and branches and stuff, and you just make this big long mound, and you cover it with dirt, and you plant on top of it, and it provides nutrients for years.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah, it's also a beautiful bed for mushrooms and things like this as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And they also, which was interesting, when I found out about that method that you're talking about, John, they also take certain branches and logs with molds on them. You have to pick the right molds, and you mix and match the molds so that the bacterial sort of like life, I suppose, what it is, actually nurtures the actual nutrients in the actual mix. It's incredible stuff. Wild. And you also have logs sticking out of it that are allowed to go rotten, so that all these beautiful, things grow on it. You bury others and grow truffles. There's all sorts of stuff you can do.
Oh yeah, there's one of the pioneers in permaculture. His name's Jeff Lawton, Lawton, and his first name Jeff is with a G. But there's videos all over the internet that you can watch and learn from it. But they were given a project, and it was in was it Syria? I don't know, somewhere in the Middle East, in the middle of a desert.
Yeah.
And they put their permaculture practices in place, and now they've got a forest growing in the middle of the desert.
Absolutely. Now, on that note, I want to bring in, if I can just remember his name quick enough, Orgone Energies. Kate, help me out here. Orgone, Wilhelm Reich?
Wilhelm Reich it is,
Yes, it is. Oops.
Right, Wilhelm Reich was actually converting deserts into lush oases, whatever you say.
Oasis.
Yeah, okay, thanks for that. That's our resident etymologist there speaking.
That's just oasis. Yeah, it's all good.
Absolutely. But yeah, again, Wilhelm Reich's technology was confiscated, he was arrested, he was thrown in jail, and he was persecuted for the rest of his life, like Tesla, like many others. We have the technology. You know, we have, as Ben Rich said of Lockheed Skunk Works, he said we have the technology on his retirement do. He went public and he said, we have the technology to take ET home, and I leave it up to the future generations just to basically get to that disclosure, to get to force them to admit the truth. And that's what the point is. Again, Werner von Braun said to Carol Roslin at the time, you know, first it's going to be a terrorist, and then it's going to be asteroids, and then it's going to be aliens. And he was saying all the time, it's a con. The whole lot is a con. And we've got to make sure that they don't weaponize space. Well, that last one we've missed out. If anybody wants to Google or just search on John Leonard Walson, you'll find craft that are up there bigger than Los Angeles and Chicago that are absolutely immense. And these things are weapons. They are absolutely huge. They're bigger than cities. And these things are mimicking stars, and they're going around in orbits, mimicking the star patterns. Again, don't take my word for it. John Leonard Walson, Walson. You can't miss it. All this information is there if you choose to put the pieces together, but you've got to look to see the pieces that exist before you start fitting them together. It's ABC, you know. That's great. But yeah, let's crack the lid off this one and let's go explore, guys. You know? I'm going to have to stop these technological outbursts. They're sending everybody quiet.
No. I'm just trying to be the patient host, waiting for people to jump in. I'm really enjoying. I love when callers and call in and make the show theirs. That's kind of what I'm working on.
I like listening to Tony as well.
Yeah, it's good.
Everyone likes listening to you, Tony. That's why everyone's quiet.
That's brilliant.
And
I just get worried because everybody goes quiet, and I'm thinking, am I pushing the boat out too far here?
No, it's because they're listening.
Yeah, it's awesome, Tony.
It's okay, Tony. Get over yourself. We did.
Yeah, that's so come on, Kate. Go on, get in there. Do the hostess with the mostess.
Hey, I got a message from Stephen on Facebook. He said he was going to be on here soon.
Excellent. He's messaged me. He said he's double booked and that, so it's not a major problem. I believe the lad told me he was on Truth Central. He's not sure how that happened. Not am I. So, but anyway,
yeah, I was on TCR.
It's not a problem. These things happen, and hey, look how much fun we're having.
Yes.
But yeah, all good stuff.
Yeah.
So, John.
Hey, Tony, you're going to have to take the helm for a couple of minutes. I've just got something quickly to do here, and I will be right back. But, hey, snap these guys to it. They're doing great here. I'm loving this. This is a listener show tonight, and hopefully if you can tag Steve, and I'll probably be about 4 or 5 minutes if he shows up. Well, we got about 40 minutes left here, so just to let him know that I'll get him on as soon as he shows up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no problem. But, yeah, like I say, fascinating stuff, all sorts of areas where we can move into. But I wanted to just ask John, briefly, I know we touched base quite a while ago, it must be at least 2 years now, and I wondered what had been happening, because you do a lot in radio in the States, and you've got a lot of connections in that sort of area. So what's your feedback been of late, if you wouldn't mind sort of like updating us?
Yeah, well, I'm still seeing people I mean, there's a lot of people that seem to be the gun issue has really got a lot of people angry.
Yep.
Which, you know, I mean, I just got an email today telling people to sign up to support their constitutional sheriffs that are standing up saying we're not going to allow this. You're not going to come in and do a gun grab on us. It's just not going to happen. Those things are good things, and they're encouraging everybody on a certain date in March to make an appointment with their local sheriff and to come out in droves and sit down with the sheriff and say, hey, you know, what are you going to do? We want to know that you're on our side, and if things continue to happen like that, that's going to give a lot more opportunity for people to network with each other, so we can start teaching these other things. Because, like some of the stuff that, it's getting more and more, but we're still this kind of talk that we have on a show like this. I would say that the majority out there, they don't even have a clue about this. Now there's a caveat there. The younger people, and I'm talking, you know, probably college to age 30. Now they're the ones that are waking up.
Beautiful.
And, you know, they're the ones that have to wake up because, I mean, it's their future.
But we must all know that that's not an excuse for us to sit on our behind, because we're the ones that are out there doing it. You know. They're going to still need us, because they're going to, you know, I mean, by us being around and willing to engage them, that's going to make them feel like, hey, you know what I'm doing is right, man. Look at this guy. He's 50 years old and he's talking the same way I am. Absolutely. That's the point.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know,
it's all about
just an example of that. I had walked away from the political scene because it was just so corrupt. It was, you know, I didn't see that there was anything that was going to be done in that area anymore. But we had a caucus down here during the presidential stuff, and I got a call from an old friend, and he's like, "You got to show up. You got to show up. You got to show up. Everybody knows you, blah blah blah, and you know, we need everybody we can." Well, so reluctantly I went, but the thing that I found out was, I mean, I'd go outside to have a cigarette during a break, and there'd be kids around there, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, and they're sitting there talking about the Federal Reserve. They're talking about the IRS. I mean, they knew everything.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm going, wow, I wish I would have known that when I was their age.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the point.
And they're just beginning, you know. So I don't think that you're going to be able to stop it. And it's the internet.
Yeah.
It's the free communications.
Yeah, totally. That's the point. You know, everything's happening at the right time. You know, that's the point. And now the internet's kicked in. You know, that's the main thing. It's really made an abundance of information.
A lot of kids don't want to know, though. I speak to young kids.
Well,
even if they're aware of it, and I know that. But I speak to my son, and he'll say, "Don't stop depressing me. I don't want to know. I know, but I don't want to know." It's very frustrating.
Yeah, that's what my mum says. So not so much now.
Well,
and there's a lot of people that are that you know that cognitive dissonance sets in. But for the younger groups, I think that we're going to see I mean, they're because the numbers of them with the knowledge is going to be so great
Peer pressure.
compared to what our generations were, because we're probably 5% of our generation. Okay, now they're going to be hit. They're probably going to be hitting 60 or 70% of their generation is going to know what's going on, and they're going to have to succumb to the peer pressure, I would imagine.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's promise. There's promise. I know that the evil ones don't want to. They're not ready to let go of the slaves, but
doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's just going to come to a point where
No, everything they're doing now is getting exposed. We're exposing the laws, we're exposing the technology, we're exposing the lies, the falsification of history, the bullshit all over the place that we fell for time and time again. I'll say many times, I was just as blooming dumbed down as everybody else until I even saw bloody at least 3 ships. And I was still, it was like, wow, that was cool. But apart from that, I went back to working, 9 till 5 and all the rest of it. I'm like, I didn't click, but when it actually clicked, that was it. It changed everything. I was going, what the heck's just happened? I just want to dive into all this information. And it drove me to the wall 3 times. I was like, oh my God, I just can't look anymore. I can't handle the magnitude of what I'm hearing. But since I actually wrote the book that I wrote and published it, lots more people have actually begun to come to their senses, should I say. I don't mean that with any negativity whatsoever, because the magnitude of mind control that we've all been under is absolutely flipping staggering. I was talking to Kyla today. It's electronic, it's media, it's food, it's in the air, it's in the water, it's in Wi-Fi's are doing the same sort of thing. Mobile phones, again, a major inhibitor of consciousness. Because they're calcifying, they're microwaving the pineal gland, for God's sake, and that's our spiritual connection to self. It connects us to who we really are. But it's just everywhere, even in our clothes, the fibres, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a guy over in Ireland who's one of the best guys in the world who talks about the polymers and the fibres that are in the clothes that we're wearing, how they're affecting us as well because they're contaminating the bloodstream. The biggest organ of the human body is the skin. And of course, anytime there's any rain or any water or any wet or anything, any chemicals in that, they soak into the skin. So consequently, we're washing our clothes in detergents full of chemicals. There's colourings in all of our clothes, Every time you go out in the rain, you get dosed with massive amounts of chemicals coming through the clothing, humid air. The list is endless. So beyond all of that poisoning of the human race, we're still waking up, and that's pretty damn awesome.
That's why it's so important to eat well as well, I think.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't drink tap water and you eat well to combat it.
Yeah, well, even if you do drink tap water, there are certain things that you can do to combat what's in them. You can revibrate the water, etc.
Yeah.
Loads of experiments that John Hutchinson did. He actually took his pardon me. He actually took his he's got like a frequency generator, and he played software gesso frequencies over to the actual Gulf of Mexico when they did that horizon thing deliberately. Now, what actually happened is all the chemical constituents in the water, the oil, the pollution, everything just disappeared. It started vanishing. And seriously, do some research. You'll find that dolphins were jumping out of the water and doing backflips because they were overjoyed that these sounds that haven't been heard for thousands and thousands of years on Earth were just like emanating throughout water for miles. Of course, dolphins and whales use sonar. In other words, sound spreads. And they were saying fishermen in villages further down the Gulf of Mexico were actually going, what the heck's going on? We've never seen anything like this. The dolphins are flipping, jumping out of the water and doing all these incredible acrobatics and stuff. They're just so overjoyed to see this occurring. It's amazing.
And that's John Hutchinson?
Yeah, John Hutchinson. He does lots of work on using frequencies and energies.
Okay.
Amazing.
He's definitely someone. He's been around for a very long time. He did a lot of work on like the Philadelphia experiment. Got a lot of the old gear and whatnot. And you do a little bit of research on John Hutchinson, and when you see what he's done, making things like wood and metals merge together. And
you guys got to keep me busy all night.
Alchemy.
But because Tony, what you said is correct. I mean, once you take the red pill, it's like, how deep does the rabbit hole go, and you can't stop.
Exactly, and there is no limit to it. That's the biggie, John. When you finally take this thing and go, right, okay, let's run with it, you'll find that the greater the information you can learn, the more avenues of exploration open up. And I think that's the most accurate way I can describe it. Because what you thought, forget what you thought of science fiction and fact. They're completely divorced from each other. It's just, wow. It really, really is. Because all of the sciences are wrong, you see. All of the Newtonian physics are wrong. The Darwinian theories of evolution are wrong. All the things that we've been taught as gospel, as benchmarks, are wrong. And you need to understand that before you can actually wrap your brain around physics. We were supposed to have Stephen on tonight, right? Stephen Kelly. Now, I, off air, was talking to Stephen about the beam ships. Now, these are real ships, right? Stephen Kelly worked with the NSA, CIA, and all these different organizations. Stephen was responsible for developing the red dot sighting systems on guns, okay? Everybody knows about them. We know about them now. They're commonplace. He invented those, okay? Now, he's worked with some of the biggest people in the industry, also been invited into sort of like places like Area 51 and various other things to work on deep black programs. Again, Stephen can talk about it himself. The point is, he was doing some research onto quasi-crystals and silver. Now, one of the things that he found is when you emitted a certain ultraviolet frequency of light to silver particles, it actually gave off a light frequency like a laser at 90 degrees to the direction of the light that hit it. In other words, it stimulated the silver particles to release photons. And then he realized that obviously if you are going to try and travel at the speed of light, well, what would you use to propel yourself? Well, light. And this is why he calls them beam ships, because they practically beam from one position in space to another. And it's all a matter of just simply using light and using the right elements. In other words, you're not going to find this in, what's his face? Newton's Book of Physics. It just isn't going to happen, right? In other words, they're using totally different mindsets with the latest technologies like quasicrystals, etc., superconductors, and all sorts of other things. But the point is, when you learn there's a different set of physics that works, it opens up a different set of solutions. So what we thought was, oh, well, that's beyond physics. Physics can't do that. Well, maybe not, but maybe there's a way around that we never previously looked at. And that's what we find, that the way that we've been taught physics has been completely wrong in order to throw us completely off the scent. So we've got to wake up to the basic fundamentals of what we thought we knew as being wrong before it can open up the options of what actually we can do. So it changes absolutely everything. And that's the fundamental basis. Until you can learn to let go of the old paradigms, there's no way you can comprehend the magnitude of the new ones, because you've never tried before. It's uncharted territory. It's like, I don't know what you compare it to. Just going somewhere we've never been before, and that's an understatement, really. But yeah, there you go.
Wow.
You're fun when you get on a roll, Tony.
As I said, it's the dead air afterwards that worries me.
You're speechless.
I'm always muted, so you know how beautifully coordinated I can be with my very slow computer here. But No, again, it's just I love when people jump in. I want everyone to be part of the call, and I want to hear where you guys are coming from, and what kind of stuff you've uncovered, and I think Tony's a pretty good sounding board to get that.
Oh yeah, and by the way, Tony, if you hold back, we might start accusing you of joining the other side. You gotta let loose, buddy. I mean, if it doesn't matter if you shock us, just let loose, let it out.
Yeah, I know where you're going. Believe me. Yeah. Like I say, there's some incredible stuff out there. There really is. Yeah. Again, I've said this for years, and I'll say, well, not for years, but I've said this for quite a while. Go and download the book, because the stuff in that book, I talk about Hutchinson, I talk about different races, I talk about the technological truths, I talk about busting the fictions, all of these things. I talk about people like Otis T. Carr and, I can't remember the second guy, Ralph Ring. They were developing and flying and producing actually UFOs that were operating in the 1950s. I demonstrate about the Nazi Bell program, where Hitler was actually developing anti-gravity in the Nazi Bell program, and I think he actually had his first craft that were up and flying in 1936. This is before the war, and I discuss about the truth behind the war and how the war was funded by the same sides. Again, it's globalization. It's the same old thing that they pull every frigging time, to confuse the masses into going against each other instead of uniting as races, which is what we need to do. Again, how do you win a war? Well, you fund both sides. Cool. There you go. And that's the attitude, and you might shed loads of money off it in the process. But anyway, not talking about war and stuff. We were talking about technology. But now all of these things, blueprints of cosmic consciousness, there's a book there. I wrote all about this stuff, and I'm talking about cures for cancers, nutrients, vitamins, minerals, all sorts of stuff that you need to know if you give a toss, really, about the truth and what's not true. And it's there. It won't cost you anything. All it's going to cost you is your due diligence and your time to go through it and learn some of the stuff in the book. As I say, Blueprints of Cosmic Consciousness is on Facebook, it's on Kate's site, it's on Santos Bonacci's site. It's on Open Your Mind Island. There's quite a few different places you can get it. It's not hard, but it's there for you. All the work's done. You just need to catch up with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's really no excuse for ignorance anymore, because there's far too much information out there. I mean, here we are in the day of Google it and ye shall find, and it's quite literal. Go ahead, Google anything, and there'll be something there. I mean, this is not 20 years ago internet, guys. This is a lot of people doing their due diligence, putting this information out. And you got to remember, every time you search for something, that is someone's efforts that were put there. So, again, that's another proof of how much we are working together, whether we think we are or not, because isn't it funny that you're looking for a piece of information and you Google it and there it is, because another part of your consciousness put it there. So this is how we all begin to interact. And I mean, the World Wide Web is that connectivity of that super consciousness, and those that are seeking to learn, those that are awakened, those that are, we're looking for, okay, am I off my rocker? I'm going to go Google this, and oh yeah, I guess I'm not. Anyway, this is how we have connected, and again, it was the one tool that they were using to destroy us financially is the one tool that's going to destroy them spiritually. And it's a beautiful balance. Works for me.
I agree that there's no excuse, but I think we're going to have to be patient and love everybody, because I know that when I started learning, I went through the whole cycle of emotions. I mean, at first I was pissed off, and then I got depressed. And I think that most people go through that whole cycle. And for a lot of people, especially for the older ones, like your folks, they're at the end of their life, and to sit there and at the end of their life and go, oh my God, my whole life was a lie. That's pretty tough to take.
That's a big pill to swallow. Yeah, but again, we all come back, so it's you either get it sorted out this time, or you get to come back ad nauseum. That's how this game works, right? So
I understand, but you got to love them at the same time, because I've had it out with my father. I don't know how many times, but I think he's come to the point where he knows it, but he's in his 80s. He's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's waiting for the deathbed, Yeah,
and nor does he have to. That's the thing of it too, right? Again, this is an evolutionary stage that we've all been part of and all been going through, and coming in our different incarnations to keep this moving in a forward fashion. There's some of us that are here that have known about this shit for for many generations, and we keep coming back, right? And here an example. I've been doing radio for a little over 5 years now, and I was talking about all this stuff 4 or 5 years ago, and not to obviously the level that I am now, but that fundamental was there that something's wrong. We're not in Kansas anymore. Total mentality. And I remember, the first 4 or 5 months of FM radio, I was talking about conspiracies and the Kennedy assassination, whatever. Then it hit me one day, and I said, what the hell am I doing focusing on this is the same old. Yeah, Kennedy got shot by his own, blah, blah, blah. Then I started going hard and heavy down other rabbit holes, and right to the point where it was literally, for me on the FM station, was literally a Zionist takedown, based on a misquote. And I walked. I didn't. They were we're gonna bring the board together to see. I said, no one does that to me. No one judges me. I basically said, fuck you. You can't handle what I have to say on the air. And if you're going to take someone else's word based on a snippet of a sentence, that if you listen to the whole sentence, it's completely opposite of what they're saying. You want to have that kind of selective hearing, and you want to continue to be a broadcasting station on FM. Well, you can do it without me, because I won't sell out. Thanks, but hey, on my way. And again, I was a volunteer at that point. I've never been paid to do radio ever, and I've been doing it for, like I said, over 5 years.
Yep.
Keeps it pure,
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, being on radio has cost me everything I've ever known and loved. So my vested interest is to make sure that others awaken, because your kids are just as important as my kids. It's just as important as everyone else's, and that's the paradigm shift I went through. And what's the point in raising my own children properly, where they're going to be loners based on what they understand, without trying to educate the rest of the people. And of course, system, being the way system is, doesn't like entities like me, and they come hard and fast at us. Another prime example, I'm hoping to get him on the show, Eric Dollard. Been passing his stuff around today. Came across him a little while ago, and this is the guy living in the Mojave Desert, has had no less than 8 of his labs destroyed. It took Tesla to a new level, and we also have people. What's his name? I was just talking about David LaPointe, where he has done, what was the name of that video, Tony?
Pendulum or something, wasn't it?
No, Fields.
The Primer Fields.
Primer Fields, yeah. Anyway, Primer Fields Part 1. It's all this information, all this technology is coming into focus now. And here's the joy of things like YouTube. You might be looking for a music video, but depending on what the name of the song is, you might, here's the thing, the kids are getting exposed to it anyway, because, the video they're looking at might be one title, and then off to the right, there's something involving, time travel or the primer fields or something like that. And
exactly.
Just out of curiosity, they'll click on it, and by default, our youth are awakening at light speed.
Well, I do that all the time, Kate. I do that all the time. I'll be watching a video, and I'll look over to the right, and I'll go, I'm going to watch that afterward.
Synchronicity.
It is.
Yeah.
Those are your rabbit trails. Follow them. That's what I do.
Yeah. So no, you're exactly right. And it's I haven't lost my kids. I mean, I did in a way because I didn't really get to be hands-on raising them because of divorce. But I mean, I've pretty much lost everything that I've had and that I had built. But when I came upon this permaculture last week, and I started reading about it and started watching videos and learning about it, and then I got into aquaponics, and I'm sitting there and I go, you know what? Because I mean, I'll be 50 in 3 months. I have never known what I wanted to do in my life. I've never known what my love was. And I found this and I went, that's what I want to do. So it's brought me to this point, and I want to put my energy into doing that and to teaching that, and then I can find the time to continue to do this, trying to spread the message around the world. And I don't have to do it 24/7 anymore. So it all comes around eventually, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the point. You find something in your life that you resonate with, and it is synchronistic, and you find, that's it. Finally, that's what I've been looking for. That's what I'm going after. That's why all of this has happened. That's why whatever you've been through. Because it's all a preparation. It's all like an assault course called life. And you go through this thing picking up, a bit like a video game. You go through these different layers of the game, picking up with all these, I don't know, let's call them bonus points all over the way, and you stick them in your pocket until you get to the point where, I need to pull something out a bit special here. And all of a sudden you're equipped with these bonus points. I've heard something about that. Then I just do this, and this. And then it suddenly opens the key to the door, and it's like, well, if I'd never learned that, I would never be in a position to open that door. And the same thing
exactly.
Again and again and again and again. It's like you were talking about, like you say, permaculture. Well, I've studied permaculture. I've looked at the different forms of growing. I've looked at the veg, all sorts of aspects of permaculture. So I wouldn't have ever been able to turn around and say, well, permaculture, and comment on that had I not even looked. I wouldn't have the first clue. But again, I picked up all the brownie points on the way, so there you go.
Well, I mean, I grew up in that construct of, go to college, get a job, and try to make as much money as you can to get to the top of the heap.
Yeah.
And after all these years, and I've lost everything, and I look back and I go, that was a miserable life.
Yeah. What about?
That was running on that. What do they call that? The wheel, running on the hamster wheel. It's like, what are you chasing after?
Exactly.
And I started looking at this permaculture and in these videos. In fact, there's one that's called Midwest Permaculture, or I think it might be Intro to Permaculture on YouTube, and there's 18 videos, and it kind of walks you through the whole thing. And they get to talking about the quality of life and how you're not in the rat race anymore. And I looked at that, and because I love the outdoors, and I'm going, man, boy, that sounds like heaven on earth. And who cares about getting rich? That's not a life.
Exactly.
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, you're talking about getting to the top of the heap, and then in one fell swoop, in my case, it was literally in one day, everything I ever knew and had was gone, and it wasn't for lack of handing the system its ass time after time after time. That was kind of what stirred it, but there you go. But at the end of the day, it's fundamentally life changing. That's for sure. And here I am with my Sue and my daughters. Haven't seen them, and that was all ripped apart. And these are the very when I look at it, the things I did were to make their lives better, and the system made damn sure that it turned that into a lie for them. And I know in my own heart of hearts exactly what happened. I know my experience, and I know exactly what went on, and it's definitely life-changing, and the purpose is certainly much higher, and those that are still chasing after the the carrot on the hamster wheel, I hope that they wake up soon. I really do, because all they're doing is working to make others wealthy, and so that they can sit on their fat asses and throw the chemtrails in the air and genetically modify the food to keep the other hamsters in line. Yeah, play God, basically, yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Absolutely.
Well, I was just going to say, Tony, we got just a little over 5 minutes left here, so just giving you a heads up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, there's never enough time, is there? Because we're just about to go off in a different slope and a different wormhole/rabbit hole. Yeah, there's just there's so many things to it. I've lost my actual track now what I was going to mention, but it doesn't matter. Like I say, we've got 5 minutes to it. I'm just going to re-suggest everybody should go out and get the book and start looking at some of this information, because it'll change your world completely, and pass it on to others. It's out there for everybody. I wrote it because information should be free for everybody to be aware of. Everybody's going to learn something from it. I learned a shitload when I was putting it together. But anyway.
Yeah, and just remember this, guys. Everyone that's in the call and everyone that's listening right now, there is a point coming very soon, and you're going to be able to turn around to a lot of people and say this. Told you.
Totally. Tom.
I mean, I can make it complicated, but I told you. And again, that's you're gonna see an exponential growth again, and the Earth is manifesting things right now like earthquakes and tsunamis and what have you, and that is just a resonance of exactly what's happening with the awakening. There are those of us that are standing with this being known as Gaia, Mother Earth, that are standing to protect her. And because without her, there's not a whole lot of aquaponics or any kind of ponics going on, It makes it a little hard to live in outer space, you know what I'm saying? But, what we're dealing with here is Mother Earth is also mirroring the same effects. And George Carlin said it once so eloquently that one day she's just going to shake her back and get rid of humanity like a bunch of fleas. Here's the thing, though. There's going to be some of those fleas, like us, that are still going to be here, and because we've earned that, because we've made the effort. So, by all means, pat yourself on the back for awakening. That's a big deal. Yeah. And just take your time, breathe. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I wish it was already over. But we stay the course, we stand to post, and we do not yield. And we move forward together. And this is the first time, and I've been able to say this for the last few weeks, that everyone is moving together with the same intention. Different roads, but the same intention is there, and that's all it takes to change this place.
Exactly. Everything happens synchronistically. And one thing I would say to everybody, just before we end up getting cut off, but the point is we are actually the culmination of our parents' DNA. In other words, we are the ascendants, not the descendants, of the best of the best. And you guys out there tonight listening to this stuff, you're the best of the best. You're the avatars. You're the ones that have woken up, and you're the ones that have woken up in order to help others wake up and to help, the rest of the race. We're all one. I wouldn't walk over you in the gutter, and I wouldn't expect you to do the same to me. But, that's the whole point, and that's what we need to come to, the collective realization that we are everybody else. We're all mirrors of the same entity. That entity is creation, and we are created. So I am of creation, and so are you. It's all shards of the mirror, if you like. It takes all the different shards to make the mirror in the first place. We
Hey,
just got to
Tony.
live it on different levels.
What was that? What's that other radio program that Steve Kelly was on? Because I've never heard him, and I'd really like to hear him. Do they have archives over there?
Yeah, we've got archives with Steve on our show. He's been on our show, 3 different times, and the show you're referring to. Yeah, we've got the archives.
Well, then, where would that be? It's not going to be on Critical Mass.
The easiest thing to explain it, John, is if you touch... We're connected on Skype already, so I'll send you the archives. How's that?
Oh, that'd be great. That'll work.
That's cool. I'll ping you.
With service, eh? Okay. Well,
hey, man, I'm telling you what. That's the magic. That's the magic of the people that are involved.
Yeah, we're all doing our bit, and you want the truth. I got a bucket. But anyway, we've got a minute left here. I just wanted to say thanks, John. Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks, Lawson, for calling in, of course, and thank you. Tammy. Looking forward to the show. Oh, my pleasure, guys. Love to have this.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Yeah, love you.
So there. Anyway, I just wanted a big thank you to Paul and Critical Mass Radio for giving us this platform every night where we can bring beautiful people together and just have a beautiful open forum like it happened tonight. All things for a reason, and tonight was the reason. Again, Tony, thank you for all the efforts and doing what you do, and everyone out there, you guys are the heroes and the heroines. Okay, start acting like you're the one. You're the ones that came here to make the change. So let's get it together. Much love to all, and thanks everyone for tuning in tonight.
We're the ones we've been waiting for.
Damn
you got it. Absolutely.
God bless you all.
Mwah.
Good night.
Good night. Love you all.
Beautiful show. Thank you, guys.
Good night.